Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on Delay. It's cold. It's getting back cold again, and I put my plants outside, and I guess I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyhow, they were suffering inside because every day I had to go into my basement to water them, and some days I would be lazy and I wouldn't go water them, and then they just totally dry up and just knock over, and so they weren't getting. I wasn't treating them properly, so I just put them outside yesterday. And then it rained, and I was like, yes, so they get some water. They're going to be feeling better. They're going to get some real natural sunlight. And then next thing you know, what temperature is it right now? Since my computer, my car is tripping right now, it doesn't want to tell me, but it's probably about 50 degrees right now. Anyhow, not so additional good news, or I don't know. They have a condition that's spreading among deer, right? And it apparently does affect humans also. It's related to mad cow disease, or mad cow disease is referred to as BSE. I think it's referred to as really BSE. I forgot what it means. Then they have another condition called CJD. The first word that starts with C, I can't pronounce it. I can't remember it. But there's a condition that human beings contract from deer, or from meat from deer, that have this BSE type of condition. I think it's called CVD. The condition the deer have is called CVD. The condition that humans get from eating deer with CVD is called CJD. But people also get CJD through other methods. Now, I was looking up CVD. So apparently I don't know how the deer and the cows contract this condition. It's supposedly, I don't know how they contract it. But human beings contract it by eating deer, or eating the deer, right? So I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't have all the details. But I just want to chime in a little bit on this. So CJD now, or CVD, you can't kill CVD by cooking the meat, like Salmonella, E. coli, stuff like that. You can cook the meat more, or at a higher temperature for a longer time, or cook it thoroughly, and they say, and then you'll be all right when it comes to Salmonella, E. coli, Streptococcus, all these other things, right? You just increase the temperature, cook it thoroughly, handle it properly, you'll be fine. That doesn't apply when it comes to CVD. CVD, even if you cook the meat thoroughly, it can still transmit to human beings. Now, because it's a protein. So the protein isn't broken down by cooking. All right? The protein isn't destroyed by cooking. So allegedly, this protein now, when you ingest it, it gives you CJD, right? It mostly seems to affect older people, like people around 60 years old and up. But, okay, stick a pin in that. Now, what it does, it causes your brain to shrink, right? It causes you to become irritable, even violent, right? So it's understandable that it has symptoms similar to dementia. So when they do tests for dementia, it's hard for them to tell whether you got CJD, or you got dementia, or what. So they do different tests. They do a test where they send electrical pulses into your brain to see how the electrical signal transmits. They do spinal taps by taking samples from part of your spine. And they also do MRIs or CT scans or whatever, whichever one you do for the brain. They do MRIs on your head or CT scans. But the CT scans and the MRIs are inconclusive for the most part because they can't differentiate between it and dementia. But what's happening is your brain is shrinking. Now, when I spoke about dementia in the past, we talk about balancing our omega-3 fatty acids, making sure that we increase our omega-3, make sure that we get in fats for our brain. That's why stuff like what they call statins, they are blamed for inducing dementia and stuff like that because they lower your cholesterol, and you need a lot of fat in your brain. You need cholesterol in your brain. Anyhow, so I'm thinking about deer. Most of us don't eat deer meat, right? So that's fine. We don't have to worry about it. During the mid-90s was the prime time for BSE, for mad cow disease. And a lot of mad cow disease was, a lot of the cows that were infected were culled. They killed all of these cows that were infected to eliminate the disease, right? But even otherwise, I think it's probably best to stay away from red meat. It's probably best to stay away from beef. Just stay away from red meat. Stay away from beef. We already know that pork has some issues, but I can't really, I'm not talking about that right now. I'm more talking about beef. I don't think anybody, most typical people don't eat deer. Most people that eat deer are hunters. People that participate in hunting and stuff like that. So one of the things that happens when your brain shrinks due to CJD is irritability, anxiety. You have difficulty speaking, difficulty interacting with people, and irritability and aggression. Strangely enough, I was, sidebar. I got so many sidebars. I was watching Dr. Amen, which I always talk about him. Dr. Amen, and he said his nephew attacked a little girl in her school, or in his school, I'm sorry. And Dr. Amen went and talked to his little nephew and said, "Nephew, what's going on with you? Is somebody hurting you? Is it something that, are you, what's going on with you?" He said, "I'm just angry all the time." And what happened is, I guess they took the nephew and got his brain scanned. Did a CT scan on his head or MRI on his head or whatever they did. And they found a cyst growing on the left side of his head. So that means that something was pushing on his brain, on the left side of his brain, which resulted in his behavior. So when they drained that cyst, he was, his behavior improved. So our brain is we already know that our brain is important. We know every part of our body is important. But we just reckless and we don't care, and we just want to have fun and we want to eat garbage. Like me, I want to drink hot chocolate. I mix hot chocolate and coffee just about every day, and I have probably about 2 cups every day. Now, previously, hot chocolate used to give me headaches. But thank God, somehow it doesn't give me headaches anymore. It doesn't give me headaches anymore, right? Like the synthetic fake hot chocolate. It doesn't give me headaches anymore. Maybe because I'm mixing it with the coffee. Because the coffee kind of dehydrates you a little bit. Coffee is a diuretic, while at the same time, all of these fake aspartames and whatever. Matter of fact, yeah, that's a neurotoxin. I really should not be drinking that hot chocolate. It has aspartame in it. So anyhow, but I have such a fetish or a taste or I don't know. I just like the taste of it. Like I just like to have a chocolatey. Like I like lattes. Anyhow, moving along. Let's get off that sidebar. Stay away from beef, in my opinion. Beef takes longer to digest in your stomach. Our stomach is more geared for vegetables. Chicken takes a longer time than vegetables. But definitely beef takes a way longer time than chicken to digest. So it's in your stomach just festering and all of that stuff. So when it comes to bovine BSE or whatever the full name is, BSE mad cow disease, or whether it comes to CJD or CVD, it also CJD also causes blindness. Forgot to mention that. I would suggest that everybody. Why is this person driving so fast? I would suggest that everybody stay away from beef, just to be safe. Just to be safe, stay away from beef. And, try to get your omega-3s to control inflammation in your brain and inflammation across your body overall. Drink some water. Like me personally, I've been having a pain, like a pressure on my ear on the right side. I don't think it's making me irritable, but I'm such I don't know. I'm going to use a derogatory word because all of a sudden everything is offensive. Not Lizzo, but Beyonce used the word spaz and she was crucified for it. I'm not Beyonce, so nobody really cares what I'm saying, but I'm such a control freak. I'm such a tightwad. I'm such a nerd. I'm so conservative. I'm so restricted. I'm so restrained. I think that even if I had some kind of mental illness, it wouldn't even manifest itself outwardly because I'm always limiting myself anyhow. In my opinion. My brother said to somebody, he said about me, I probably iron my underwear. And because, he says I'm such a stick in the mud. Even though that's he was using hyperbole because he knows that, yeah, whatever. But anyhow, so I've been feeling a pain in my ear, in my right ear, like a pressure on my right ear, and then sometimes it's not that I have a disconnection from reality. Not at all. My reality has changed over time. As I get older, the way how I perceive reality, I think, has changed. Because as a younger man, I used to travel more. Not saying that I used to go to different countries, but I used to go to different places. I used to go to different places in New York. I used to go to Connecticut, Pennsylvania. Really, that's about it. But just even traveling to different places in New York, it makes you, it just gives you a different perspective on life. It's like I don't know, like you don't need thousands of dollars to have a great experience traveling. You can travel within your city, within your town, within your state, and have a great experience, and have an enlightening and eye-opening experience. And have an inspiring experience, in my opinion. So, as a younger man, I used to do those things. So I think, and everything seemed new. Everything seemed more exciting. But now that I'm just really rudimentary in my travels, just going here and there, which is a very minimalist kind of lifestyle anyway. Nothing wrong with that. But it's relegated me to see the world as a more almost non-spectacular, non-exciting place. That's because I'm not going to any new places. But anyhow, that's me venting right there and beefing right there. So anyhow, stay away from the beef. Stay away. So I'm just saying that my reality has changed. I don't think I have a mental issue going on, but I'm very much focusing on this pressure that I'm feeling in my ear, and I'm trying to resolve it and get it all fixed up. Now, it was worse maybe a month ago, and I didn't really do anything especially different. But what I've actively decided to do is to stop drinking the coffee and the hot chocolate, get more walking in, because I stopped walking. Like probably this whole winter I didn't really walk too much. I just stayed in the office, sat down for the most part. Didn't take my walks at lunchtime. I'm going back to taking my walks. I also did some other experiments on myself. I took some of the sauce ondulé oil that I'm kind of developing. Not really developing, but anyhow, there's an oil that I've been working on. And what I've done, I've been dropping it in my ear. So I wouldn't advise anybody else to do such a thing. I wouldn't advise anybody else to take that risk. I would not advise anybody to do something like that. But maybe that's a manifestation of my mental state, that I would take such a risk. Your ears are very important. They're very close to your brain. You gotta, don't try to push things into your ears. So and so and so forth. Next thing, I kept cleaning my ears with my finger. Oh, next thing I did was I stopped putting my earbud in my right ear. I kept putting my earbud into my right ear, and I suspect maybe that could have been a contributor. So I've moved the earbud to my left ear, and I think that's might be helping. My right ear though is still giving me a little. It still doesn't feel 100%, but it's much more improved than it was a month ago. Because whatever. So I'm working on it. Only thing I got left to do is think positive and manifest healing in it. Think positive and manifest the healing in it, which I haven't done. What else do I gotta say? So regarding the brain, regarding Alzheimer's, they call that what? The third diabetes. Still trying to stay away from the sugar if possible, because that causes inflammation, that causes pressure in places you don't want. Still trying to stick to the coconut oils and the olive oils, so I can get. I think I gotta really research and go back to, because my memory is so bad. I don't remember which ones have the most omega-3s, but I want to think that it's coconut. Coconut also has MCT in it, which is good. Well, coconut oil and what's the other one? Olive oil. I tried avocado for a little bit, but I don't know. Did I have a good response to it? I don't remember how I felt about avocado. Try avocado for a little bit. I might try that again. But anyhow, it's not about me. But all I want to relay to you: stay away from beef. I'm just over here just wasting your time. Stay away from beef, if possible. Apparently, these diseases that the animals have are communicable, and some are not eliminated by cooking because they are proteins. And cooking them, it does not remove them. So you end up digesting them. They end up in your gut. Your gut biome is designed to break down really vegetables, so maybe it's not totally broken down. Some of it might get absorbed into your bloodstream, and there you go, you got CJD, and your brain starts to shrink. But also, it mostly affects older people. So especially if you're older, like myself, you want to stay away from beef, not eat beef at all. You can get yourself alternatives. Sauce on Delay is a vegan product, which is, ultimately that's a marketing strategy, honestly, because there's only a few ingredients in hair products that are kind of plant-based when it comes to even hair products for men, like tallow, which is like sheep's fat, or beeswax. It's really tallow and beeswax. People, there's companies out there that make hair oil out of tallow, and there's a multitude of companies that use beeswax in their products also. So, which I would think would be very expensive, but I guess not. So, making a vegan hair product is really not a big stretch. So, I'm glad that everybody's moving towards vegan, clean, animal cruelty free. But I did have a discussion on that already, because even animal cruelty free products, like even that I made, benefit from animal experiments, because these animal experiments were done many, many years ago. So the results from those animal experiments prove that either this does not affect your eyes, this does not burn your skin, this does so and so and so forth. As a result, we're using that same information now that we discovered then. Just like, unfortunately, a lot of research came out of the Holocaust from all the terrible experiments that the Nazis did. Some of the experiments that they conducted resulted in medical advances, similar to horrible experiments on slaves, horrible experiments in America, horrible experiments on prisoners, and other horrible experiments that were conducted on a clandestine kind of basis on just the general population. Anyhow, so I said a lot to say nothing. Stay away from beef. I'm not saying that, like I said, most of the cows that had mad cow disease were culled. Most of the cows that had mad cow disease were in the United Kingdom. But there's another condition that's roaming around in the wild in America right now called CVD, that's affecting deer. When you see the deer, their eyes are white, they start foaming at the mouth, and they will potentially attack you. Eventually, their cognitive abilities deteriorate to the point where they just end up perishing. And it's a very rapid decline. And one thing I forgot to mention is CJD, there is no treatment for it. There is no cure, there's no treatment. The only thing close to treatment is morphine. So all they do is drug you up so that you can just not feel too much pain, and that's it. They can't restore your mental capacity. They can't restore your brain's fats. They can't do anything for you but just make you comfortable. That's called make you comfortable. When the doctors send somebody home and say, oh, well, just make him comfortable, that means that, they can't help you. They've done what they can do, and they don't see the benefit of doing anything else to you. And it's just say your goodbyes and make your peace with whatever deity you subscribe to, and that's really it. Just make you comfortable. So if you contract if you contract CJD, all they can do for you is make you comfortable. So stay away from the deer meat, stay away from the beef, try to stay away from the red meat. That's what I would advise. But hey, we all got our own preferences. It's not something that's, I guess, prevalent right now going around, but I wanted to cross-reference beef consumption versus rates of Alzheimer's, but I didn't find the proper data, and it was time for me to go to bed, so I just went to bed. So I would say in the interim, until somebody comes up with some kind of research or data saying that, you know, beef doesn't really contribute to Alzheimer's, I say stay away from it. But hey, that's all I gotta say. Thanks for listening.